In the coldest villages of Siberia, winter didn't just challenge families, it hunted them. Blizzard season could bury a house in hours, loading roofs with so much snow that even a perfectly built log home could collapse without warning. Families slept listening for the telltale groan of timber under pressure, knowing a single crack in the night could mean disaster. Yet somehow, for centuries, Siberian izbas survived storms that flattened entire barns and sheds around them. The secret wasn't thicker walls. It wasn't stronger beams. It was a system of tiny, almost invisible roof vents that let families control the temperature of the roof itself. By releasing warm air at just the right moment, the roof stayed cold enough to keep snow light, prevent ice layers from forming, and even create a pressure difference that helped lift some of the load off the structure, all without wasting precious heat inside the home. How did Siberian builders turn a handful of wooden vents into a life-saving winter technology? Part 1. In the vast, unforgiving expanse of Siberia, where winter is not just a season but a dominant, life-altering force that shapes every aspect of existence, survival has always been a matter of ingenuity, adaptation, and a deep, intuitive understanding of the natural world. This is a land of extremes, a place where the very concept of cold takes on new meaning. In the village of Oymyakon, known as the Pole of Cold, temperatures plummeted to minus 67.7 degrees Celsius on February 6, 1933, one of the coldest temperatures ever officially recorded. In January 2023, temperatures dropped to their lowest levels in at least 2 decades, around minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit. In Yakutsk, the coldest city in the world, winter temperatures routinely plummet to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and the landscape is buried under a thick blanket of snow for more than half the year. In the heart of this frozen wilderness, the traditional Siberian Izba, or log house, stands as a testament to the resilience and resourcefulness of the people who have called this land home for centuries. But the Izba is more than just a shelter from the cold. It is a sophisticated, engineered dwelling designed to withstand the full fury of the Siberian winter, including the relentless blizzards that can rage for days on end, burying everything in their path. These blizzards are not merely snowstorms, they are violent, disorienting maelstroms of wind and snow that can seal families in their homes, cut off entire villages from the outside world, and create snow loads on roofs that can reach catastrophic levels. This is the story of how Siberian families survived these brutal blizzard seasons, not just through the strength of their log walls or the warmth of their massive stoves, but through a secret, often overlooked feature of their homes, a system of ingenious roof vents that prevented the catastrophic collapse of their dwellings under the immense weight of the snow. It is a story of how a simple, elegant design, born from generations of observation and experience, allowed people to live and thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Our journey begins in the heart of Siberia, in a landscape defined by its vast forests of pine, spruce, and larch, and its extreme climate. For centuries, the people of this region have built their homes from the most abundant and reliable material available, wood. The traditional Siberian Izba is a masterpiece of log construction, a sturdy, durable dwelling that can be built with simple hand tools and yet last for hundreds of years. The walls are made of massive hand-hewn logs, carefully fitted together with interlocking corner joints that provide both strength and insulation. These corner joints come in several varieties: residue joints, where the ends of the logs extend beyond the corner; residue-free joints, where the logs are cut flush with the corner, and hybrid joints that combine elements of both. Each type has its own advantages, but all are designed to create a tight, weatherproof seal that protects the building from freezing and provides structural strength. The gaps between the logs are filled with moss, straw, or sawdust, creating a tight seal that keeps the cold air out and the warm air in. The logs themselves can be grooved in different ways: upper grooving, lower grooving, or double grooving, each method chosen to ensure durability and resistance to the extreme cold. The Izba is often built without a traditional foundation, or with only a simple boulder or pile foundation, allowing the structure to settle naturally with the ground and adapt to the terrain and snow conditions. But the true genius of the Izba lies not just in its walls, but in its roof. The traditional Siberian roof is a steep, double-pitched structure designed to shed the heavy winter snow as efficiently as possible. The pitch of the roof is critical. Too shallow and the snow will accumulate, too steep and the structure becomes unstable. The Siberian builders found the perfect balance, creating roofs that could shed snow while still providing adequate space for an attic or storage area. But shedding snow is not always enough. During a blizzard, the snow can accumulate with astonishing speed, piling up on the roof in a matter of hours and creating a load that can threaten the structural integrity of the entire house. A cubic meter of freshly fallen snow can weigh as much as 200 kilograms, and as the snow settles and compacts, its weight can increase dramatically. A heavy snow load can cause a roof to sag, to crack, and ultimately to collapse, with devastating consequences for the family inside. To counter this threat, Siberian builders developed a system of roof vents, small, strategically placed openings that allowed for the controlled release of warm air from the house. These vents were not just simple holes in the roof. They were carefully designed components of a sophisticated ventilation system that worked in concert with the house's stove and its overall design to manage the temperature and pressure inside the dwelling. The vents were often small and inconspicuous, hidden beneath the eaves or disguised as decorative elements, but their function was critical to the survival of the house and its inhabitants. Part 2. The secret to the Siberian roof vent system lies in a deep understanding of the physics of heat and air movement, a knowledge that was not written in books or taught in formal schools, but rather passed down through generations of practical experience. The traditional Russian stove, or pechka, was the heart of the Siberian home, a massive, multifunctional appliance that provided heat for cooking, warmth for the living space, and even a place to sleep. The pechka was a marvel of thermal engineering, designed to burn wood slowly and efficiently and to store and radiate heat for long periods of time. The stove was typically placed in the corner of the main room, either to the right or to the left of the entrance, and it dominated the interior space. It was not just a functional object, it was the center of family life, the place where people gathered for warmth, where food was prepared, and where stories were told. But the pechka also produced a significant amount of smoke, and this smoke had to be managed carefully to ensure the health and safety of the family. In the earliest izbas, dating back to before the 10th century, there was no chimney. The smoke from the stove simply filled the upper part of the room, and then escaped through a small hole in the roof or through the doorway. These were the so-called black, or smokehouse, izbas, known in Russian as kurnaya izba, and they were heated po-chornomu, black style. While they were effective at heating the space, they were also dark, sooty, and filled with the constant smell of smoke. The smoke rose to the steep trapezoidal ceiling and then escaped through special wooden vents in the roof. Over decades, the upper logs, above human height, turned a deep black with soot, giving these houses their distinctive appearance. But the smoke served a purpose beyond just being a byproduct of heating. It dried and preserved the timbers, extending the life of the house. It kept clothes, boots, and fishing nets dry, preventing mold and rot. And, perhaps most importantly, it made the interior warmer through the winter, as the smoke carried heat with it as it rose, warming the upper part of the house before escaping. By the mid-19th century, city fashions reached the forests of Siberia, and brick chimneys and white stoves became the norm. Many old black huts were retrofitted with pipes, but the principle of using the roof to manage the air inside the house remained. The roof vents were a key part of this system. They were typically small, wooden structures, often with a simple sliding or hinged cover that allowed them to be opened or closed as needed. They were placed high up on the roof, near the peak, where the warmest air in the house would naturally accumulate. The vents were designed to create a gentle, continuous flow of air, drawing the warm, moist air from inside the house and releasing it to the outside. This constant circulation of air served several crucial functions. First, it helped to regulate the temperature of the roof itself. By releasing the warm air from the attic space, the vents prevented the underside of the roof from becoming too warm. This was important because a warm roof could cause the snow on top of it to melt, creating a layer of water that could then refreeze into a heavy, dense layer of ice. This ice was far heavier than snow, and it could dramatically increase the load on the roof, making a collapse more likely. By keeping the roof cold, the vents ensured that the snow remained as a light, fluffy powder, which was much easier for the roof to support and for the wind to blow away. Second, the vents helped to manage the moisture inside the house. The daily activities of a family, cooking, washing, and even breathing, release a significant amount of moisture into the air. In a tightly sealed house, this moisture can build up, leading to condensation on the walls and ceiling, and creating a damp, unhealthy environment. The roof vents provided a way for this moist air to escape, keeping the interior of the house dry and comfortable. This was particularly important in the winter, when the cold outside air could cause condensation to freeze on the inside of the walls, creating a layer of frost that could damage the wood and reduce the insulating properties of the walls. Third, and most importantly, the vents played a critical role in preventing the catastrophic collapse of the roof during a blizzard. By creating a slight negative pressure inside the house, the vents helped to lift the roof, counteracting the immense weight of the snow on top of it. The principle is similar to the way an airplane wing generates lift. The flow of air over the curved surface of the roof creates a pressure differential, with lower pressure on the top of the roof and higher pressure on the underside. This pressure differential creates an upward force that helps to support the weight of the roof and the snow on top of it. The roof vents, by allowing air to flow out of the house, enhanced this effect, creating a dynamic, self-regulating system that could adapt to the changing conditions of a blizzard. Part 3. The effectiveness of the Siberian roof vent system was not just a matter of theory. It was a matter of life and death, proven over centuries of experience in one of the world's most extreme climates. Siberia exhibits the highest climatic variability of the entire northern hemisphere, with temperature changes of 1.39 degrees Celsius per 100 years, compared to 0.77 degrees Celsius per 100 years for the northern hemisphere as a whole. This extreme variability means that the builders of the Izba had to design a system that could handle not just cold, but wildly fluctuating conditions, from the deep freeze of winter to the occasional warm spell that could cause rapid melting and refreezing of snow. The design of the vents, their placement on the roof, and their integration with the overall design of the house were all the result of a long process of trial and error, a process of learning from both successes and failures. The builders of the Siberian Izba were not trained engineers or architects in the modern sense, but they were masters of their craft, with a deep, intuitive understanding of the materials they worked with and the environment they lived in. They understood that the Izba was not just a static structure, but a living, breathing system that had to work in harmony with the natural forces around it. The construction of the vents themselves was a testament to this craftsmanship. They were typically made of wood, the same material as the rest of the house, and they were designed to be both functional and beautiful. The vents were often decorated with intricate carvings, their designs reflecting the local traditions and the personal style of the builder. But these decorations were not just for show. They also served a practical purpose. The carvings could help to break up the flow of wind over the roof, reducing the stress on the vent and preventing it from being damaged in a storm. The shape of the vent, its size, and the design of its cover were all carefully considered to ensure that it would function effectively in the harsh Siberian conditions. The placement of the vents was also critical. They were typically located near the peak of the roof, on the leeward side of the house, away from the prevailing winds. This protected them from being blocked by drifting snow and ensured that they could continue to function even in the midst of a blizzard. The number of vents and their size would vary, depending on the size of the house, the pitch of the roof, and the local climate. A larger house with a lower-pitched roof would require more or larger vents to effectively manage the snow load and the interior climate. The operation of the vents was a skill that was passed down from generation to generation. The family would learn to read the signs of the weather, to anticipate the coming of a storm, and to adjust the vents accordingly. In the days leading up to a blizzard, the vents would be opened to increase the flow of air and to begin the process of cooling the roof. During the storm, the vents would be carefully monitored, their openings adjusted to maintain the delicate balance of pressure and temperature that was needed to keep the roof from collapsing. After the storm had passed, the vents would be closed to conserve heat and to prevent the cold outside air from entering the house. This active management of the house's ventilation system was a key part of the Siberian winter survival strategy. It was a strategy that required constant vigilance, a deep understanding of the house and its systems, and a close connection to the natural world. The family lived in a symbiotic relationship with their home, their actions and the house's responses intertwined in a constant dance of adaptation and survival. The house was not just a passive shelter. It was an active participant in the family's struggle against the elements, a living, breathing entity that responded to their care and attention. The interior organization of the Izba also played a role in this system. The single room was divided into several functional areas: the stove corner, or baby kut, where women worked and which was separated by a curtain; the men's corner, or konik, on the right from the entrance, where men kept their tools and rested; and the red corner, the sacred eastern corner where icons were kept and where the family gathered for meals. All of these spaces were organized according to the 4 cardinal points, reflecting a deep cosmological understanding of the world. The high threshold of the Senai, the entrance room, prevented cold air from entering the main living space, and the Seni itself served as a buffer zone, storing necessary things and food while keeping the house warm. Part 4. Imagine a Siberian winter night in the late 19th century in a small village in Arkhangelsk province. Outside, a blizzard rages, the wind howling at speeds that can reach 100 miles per hour, and the snow falling in a blinding, disorienting curtain. The temperature has dropped to 40 degrees below 0 Celsius, and the world is a maelstrom of white. The blizzard has been raging for 2 days, and the snow has piled up on the roofs of the izbas, creating a load that would crush a lesser structure. But inside one particular izba, a Kurnaya izba built in the traditional style, a family is safe and warm. The massive log walls, insulated with moss and sealed with a thin layer of ice that has formed from the moisture in the air, keep the cold at bay. The pechka glows in the corner, its gentle heat radiating through the room. The family is gathered around the stove, the children sleeping soundly on the warm platform above it, the parents quietly mending clothes or carving wood. The air is filled with the scent of wood smoke and the comforting aroma of baking bread. The upper logs of the house, above human height, are stained a deep black with soot from years of smoke, a testament to the age and resilience of the structure. This scene of domestic tranquility, played out countless times over the centuries in the heart of the Siberian wilderness, was made possible by the ingenious design of the izba, and in particular by its secret roof vents. Without these vents, the story could have been very different. The immense weight of the snow piling up on the roof, perhaps 500 kilograms per square meter or more, could have caused it to groan and sag, the timbers cracking under the strain. The family would have listened in fear, their sense of security shattered by the ominous sounds coming from above. They would have been faced with a terrible choice: to stay inside and risk being crushed in a roof collapse, or to venture out into the blizzard and face certain death from exposure. But with the roof vents open and functioning, the house was not a passive victim of the storm. It was an active participant in its own defense. The gentle flow of air through the vents, drawing the warm air out and creating a slight negative pressure inside, was a subtle but powerful force working against the crushing weight of the snow. The house was breathing, its exhalations a silent, invisible shield against the fury of the blizzard. The family could sleep soundly, secure in the knowledge that their home was protecting them, that its ancient, time-tested design was once again proving its worth. The roof vents were not just a technical solution to a structural problem. They were a symbol of the Siberian way of life, a way of life that was based on a deep respect for the power of nature and a humble recognition of the need to work with it, not against it. The builders of the Izba did not try to create an impenetrable fortress against the winter. They created a dwelling that was a part of the winter, a structure that could bend and breathe with the changing conditions of the environment. They understood that survival in the Arctic was not about brute force, but about subtlety, adaptability, and a deep, intuitive understanding of the forces at play. This understanding was not something that could be learned from books or taught in a classroom. It was a form of embodied knowledge, a wisdom that was passed down through the generations, not in words, but in the shared experience of building and living in the Izba. It was a wisdom that was written in the grain of the wood, in the curve of the roof, in the placement of the vents. It was a wisdom that was born from a long and intimate relationship with the land, a relationship of respect, reciprocity, and a profound sense of belonging. The family knew that the domovoi, the house spirit believed to live on the stove, was watching over them, and they showed their respect by burning their garbage in the stove, keeping the energy of the house within its walls, contributing to prosperity and wealth. Part 5. The traditional Siberian Izba, with its secret roof vents and its sophisticated system of natural ventilation, is a relic of a bygone era. The advent of modern building materials, central heating, and a more settled, urbanized way of life has made the Izba a less common sight in the Siberian landscape. Today, many of the old log houses stand abandoned, their intricate carvings fading, their roofs sagging, their secrets slowly being lost to time. In Bolshoi Halui, in Arkhangelsk province, dozens of abandoned log homes still stand, including a unique Kurnaya Izba built in the late 19th century, a dwelling with a stove but no chimney, a true smokehouse hut that has not been lived in for 40 years. It stands as a time capsule from a fairy tale age, a smoke-darkened survivor from the earliest days of northern settlement. But the legacy of the Izba, and the wisdom it embodies, is more relevant today than ever before. In an age of climate change and growing concern about the environmental impact of our buildings, the Izba offers a powerful model of sustainable design. It is a structure that is built from local, renewable materials that requires minimal energy to heat, and that is designed to work in harmony with its environment. The principles of the Izba, the use of thermal mass, the importance of insulation and airtightness, the harnessing of natural ventilation, are the very same principles that are at the heart of the modern green building movement. Architects and engineers today are looking to traditional building forms like the Izba for inspiration, seeking to learn from their timeless wisdom and to apply their lessons to the challenges of the 21st century. The Siberian roof vent system, in particular, offers a valuable lesson in the importance of designing buildings that are responsive to their environment. The vents were not a static, one-size-fits-all solution. They were part of a dynamic, adaptable system that could be adjusted to meet the changing conditions of the weather. This idea of a building as a living, breathing entity, a system that can be actively managed by its occupants to optimize its performance, is a powerful one, and it is one that is gaining traction in the world of contemporary architecture. The concept of smart buildings, with their sensors and automated systems, is in many ways a high-tech version of the traditional Siberian Izba, a modern-day attempt to recreate the intimate, responsive relationship that the Siberian family had with their home. But the legacy of the Izba is not just about technology and design. It is also about culture and community. The Izba was more than just a house. It was the center of family and community life, a place where people came together to share their stories, their songs, and their warmth. The porch was a gathering place where family and neighbors assembled in the evenings. The shared experience of surviving the long, dark winter, of working together to maintain the house and to keep the fire burning, created a strong sense of community and a deep appreciation for the importance of mutual support. In our modern world, with its emphasis on individualism and its growing sense of social isolation, the image of a Siberian family gathered together in their warm, cozy Izba, listening to the howl of the blizzard outside, is a powerful reminder of the enduring human need for connection and community. The secret of the Siberian roof vents is not just a story about how to build a house that can withstand a blizzard. It is a story about a way of life, a way of thinking, a way of being in the world. It is a story about the power of human ingenuity, the importance of tradition, and the deep, timeless wisdom that can be found in the simple, elegant solutions of the past. As we face the challenges of a rapidly changing world, with climate change bringing both unprecedented warming and extreme weather events, the story of the Siberian Izba and its secret roof vents is a story that we would do well to remember. It is a story that reminds us that the key to a sustainable future may lie not in the relentless pursuit of new technologies, but in the rediscovery and reapplication of the ancient, time-tested wisdom of our ancestors. The Izba teaches us that buildings should not fight against nature, but work with it, breathing with the seasons, adapting to the conditions, and creating a harmonious relationship between human habitation and the natural world.